Have you ever had someone say to you, don't do that subject, you'll get scaled down? Or, you should do this subject, you'll get scaled up. And you have no idea what they're talking about? Well, this video is going to help you with busting some of the misconceptions about scaling and explaining exactly what happens. So scaling is where all SACE subjects are treated equally. Well, that's what they're trying to do anyway. What they're trying to do is to make sure there are no easier subjects. Okay, you might have heard someone say, oh, you should do this subject because it's easier than this one. Well, that's not true, because all Year 12 subjects set by the SACE board all have an equally hard amount of work to do. So there's no easy subjects in Year 12. But how can you make sure that the grade you get in, say, food and hospitality is equal to a grade that someone gets in, say, PE, or chemistry, or specialist maths, or physics, or psychology, or any other number of subjects? So scaling is where the grade in one subject is changed so that it makes the distribution of grades across all subjects equal. This means that the same percentages of A's are awarded in PE as they are in music, as they are in chemistry, as they are in dance. Now at this stage you're probably like, why have I just wasted a minute and a half of my life with this video? I'm so confused. Well, let me try to explain this for you. This is called a bell curve. This is kind of what you're trying to look at for a subject. You want to get So this is a bell curve. This shows what we call the normal distribution of grades. You'll have some students who will do really well and get A+, and you have some students, unfortunately, who will struggle and they'll get down towards the E. But majority of your students will be through your B and your C grade band. Now sometimes what happens in some subjects is that the average grade in that subject is slightly higher. So if we've got this subject here, you'll notice that the average grade for this subject is up here. Alright, so this might be around a B, for example, whereas the average grade for this subject is a C. Now, if you, in this subject, if you got an A+, alright, you've done really well compared to a lot of the students. But if you get an A+ in this subject, you've done exceptionally well compared to a lot of the students. It's a lot harder to get an A+ in this blue subject than in the green one. Alright, so what they do is they try to average out the grades. And so what will happen is that this green line, the grades of those students will be scaled down to make it more on par with the other subjects. So those grades shift until they kind of get pretty close to what the average is for all the other subjects. Let's say, for example, you had one down this end, okay, and you have a grade now average which is now much lower, okay? So students who get a C in this subject are better than a lot of the other students, and they've got a better result. So what that means is, again, they're going to try and move these grades so that they more match the distribution of the subject. Now I know it's still a little bit hard to understand. On the SATAC website there is a really good video, it goes for about 10 minutes, which explains scaling and gives you a bit more of an understanding of how they actually do it. But the key is that they're just trying to make it equal across the subjects and reward those students who work really hard. So you don't really need to worry too much about scaling, you just need to try and do the best you can. But here's an example of how a grade doesn't always equal the same raw score. So these are some examples from last year. A- for biology was a 13.3 out of 15. An A- for visual art, however, was 12.5. Specialist maths was 12.8. Integrated learning was 13.4. So traditionally you might have heard some people say, well, specialist maths is the hardest subject, but you can see here from this one that it doesn't necessarily equal getting a better score. It really comes down to how you do in the subject and how all the other students in the state do as well. So at the end of the day, you cannot control scaling. It changes each year depending upon the results of all the students doing the SACE, not just our school. So the best advice I can get is if you get someone saying, choose this subject because you'll get scaled up, don't listen to them. Just do the subjects you are going to enjoy and that you need to do for your career pathway, and let scaling take care of it itself.